Hi there. Let's meet. I'm Melissa, and I'm going to tell you all about my life. The thing is, it's not easy because my mom often acts childish. Because of that, I have to look after my little sister and do all the housework. Because of my mother, all her responsibilities land on me. She works 2 jobs because she and my dad are divorced. Even though he helps us financially, it's still not enough. I do the bills, cooking, take care of my sister, clean the house. I mean, everything, even though I still have to go to school. And this year, there's also transition exams, which I just don't have time to prepare for. Mom tries to provide me and my little sister with everything we need. I understand that. But sometimes it seems that she just doesn't understand that we're still children and that she has obligations to us. In the evening, she comes home and hangs out on the phone while I make dinner. After we eat, she lies down to rest, and I bathe my sister, prepare her things for kindergarten, and then put her to bed. Mom, I have an extra math class tomorrow night. Could you please pick up Bree from preschool? Sure, honey. I have a short day at the clinic tomorrow. What do you think happened? She forgot about my sister and went out with her friends to spend the evening at a bar. Also, she's constantly asking me to call her a cab because she, can't. Every time, I'm amazed she lived to be the age she is. The burden of responsibility began to weigh on me so much that I just couldn't stand it and began to argue with her. Mom, can you be more serious? It's really hard for me. What could be that difficult? You just need to look after your sister, keep an eye on the house, and study. You don't understand. Everything's on me. I'm tired. I'm a teenager, and I also want to spend time with my friends and go to parties. You're depriving me of my childhood. You're not being fair. I'm trying for you. You could spend more time with us if you didn't go out with your friends and didn't go out with men. I knew that my mother was offended by my words, but it was time to end it all at some point. After that, my mom didn't speak to me for a week. That said, she didn't come home for 2 more days. How can you leave your own kids unattended for 2 days? When was she going to grow up? We started fighting like this more and more often. We'd yell at each other, and Bree would get scared and lock herself in her room. Mom always said that if she wanted to live under control, she wouldn't have divorced my dad. By the way, the divorce is a whole separate story. Dad always loved Mom, but after a few days of antics like that, he just gave up and said he wanted a divorce. At first, he used to come over and visit us a lot. Me and Bree and Dad would go out for walks in the park. Then later, he got a new family, had children there, and stopped coming to see us. That made my mom angry and mad at us all the time, and she found her solace in bars and cafes with her friends. I kept waiting for my 18th birthday. I wanted to go to work, finish school, and then take Bree and leave my mother. One day, when my mother and I had another fight, I just couldn't stand it and left the house to get some fresh air. I was sitting in the park on the swings when some guy, about 20 to 25, came up to me. Hi, excuse me, can you tell me where the Star Mall is? You go down the alley to the right and then to the left. Straight ahead again and you'll see it right away. Thank you. My name is Bruce, by the way. I'm Melissa. Nice to meet you, Melissa. Is it just me, or are you upset about something? I needed someone to talk to. I told him about how my mother and I had fought. The words just started to come out of my mouth. After I told him, Bruce sighed heavily and said he could help me out. Bruce offered me a good job at his firm. And the main point was that I could bring Bree there with me. Turns out they had daycare right in the company for the employees' children. As I was walking home, I could just smell my new life. Without my mom to look after, as another kid. Yeah, I didn't want to leave her, but there was no other way out. She had to grow up now, just without us. Bruce and I arranged to meet that night, after work at the same place in the park. He said it was for me to sign some papers. The hour came, and I went to the agreed place, and just like that time, sat on the swing. I waited for about an hour, and it was getting dark. I began to think that maybe Bruce had changed plans and we hadn't exchanged numbers. Maybe he just realized he shouldn't hire such a young girl with a lot of family problems. I was just about to leave when I heard footsteps behind me. Before I could turn around, I felt a hard blow to the head. Everything around me fell into darkness. I woke up in a strange place, like a basement. I was locked in. Who could have done this? What was going on? I started banging on the door and shouting, but no one answered. I'd been kidnapped. But why? I don't have a rich family, so they can't plan to get a ransom. Horrible thoughts began to creep into my head. I was in a terrible panic. I started to worry about Bree in daycare with no one to pick her up. My phone wasn't around. The kidnapper must have taken it. What to do? I heard footsteps and heavy breathing outside the door. Who are you? What do you want? Why have you taken me? You will sit quietly and no one will hurt you. But if you yell... My insides went cold. The voice was unfamiliar, harsh and hoarse. I could tell by the tone of the voice that the man wasn't kidding. Oh my God, my mom wouldn't even know I was gone. And that's assuming she came straight home. And not to a bar as usual. I don't know how much time passed. It was dark and I lost track. At this time, at my house, Bruce was rushing around the room. He hadn't found me in the arranged place. He immediately thought something bad had happened. He found my smartphone near the swing set in the park, opened my address book and called my mother, and she was already home. Mom was pacing the room and couldn't find her place. She was screaming about calling the police, the FBI, and the CIA. It must have been the first time she'd ever worried so much about me. Bruce stood looking out the window with a frown. He turned sharply to my mother and said, "Calm down. Everything's going to be all right. I'll find her, I promise." And with these words, he left the house, and my mother stood there like a statue, just staring after him. Bruce went to his firm and enlisted the help of everyone he knew in the police and private investigators. He knew he was running out of time. He summoned his assistant to his office and gave him the assignment to make inquiries about me, about my friends, my classmates, and anyone else he could see me with. He immediately told him to find the surveillance tapes in the park. He was sure I couldn't have disappeared without a trace, and he was right. In one of the videos, he spotted a suspicious man heading toward the park. Immediately, Bruce's assistant sent all the people hired the description of the strange man. Meanwhile, I was just lying on the cold floor and waiting. Except, what was I waiting for? I began to cry that I'd never see Bree or my mom again. I was so scared. Suddenly, I heard something rumbling upstairs. The sound of a helicopter or something. There was some kind of explosion, and it smelled like smoke. What should I expect now? Would I suffocate in here, or would I be overwhelmed by the remains of the building? Suddenly, the door swung open and Bruce walked in. I cowered in the corner of the room and couldn't move with fear. Bruce shined his flashlight and saw me. Slowly, he walked over and started talking to me very quietly. "Melissa, it's me, Bruce. Don't be afraid, it's all over now." What? What's going on? Where am I? "You were kidnapped by a man, my enemy, who thought you were my girlfriend. I'm sorry, I'm guilty. He saw us talking in the park that whole time. He's just sick, but you're not in any more danger. You have my word." I somehow crawled over to Bruce and clung to him with a deadly grip, and the first thing I could say was, "I have to pick up Bree from daycare." Bruce laughed strangely, picked me up in his arms, and carried me outside. From the shock and the tears in my eyes, I noticed that there were a lot of people there. There was a helicopter on the outskirts, and Bruce was on his way to it. Later, he brought me home. My mother met us on the doorstep. She was like nothing I'd ever seen before. She looked like she'd just gotten about 10 years older. She ran up to me, gave me a big hug, and started crying. "Melissa, thank God you're alive." "Mom, don't cry. Everything's okay. I'm home. Where's Bree? Did you pick her up from daycare? She must be hungry. We have to make her something." Mom cried even harder. "I'm sorry, honey. I understand now. I understand everything. You're such a good girl, and I've been acting like a child." "You're just my mom." "I promise that from now on I will change. I will spend more time with you. I felt so bad that I couldn't help you. I'm sorry, can I have a moment? Bruce told me that he has a law firm that employs some of the most experienced and sought-after lawyers, and the man who kidnapped me decided to get back at him. Turns out Bruce's firm had won a case against that man's cafe. A customer had poisoned himself in his establishment, and naturally, the lawyer sued to pay damages and shut the place down. The man went bankrupt and paid out all of his savings in compensation. After that incident, Mom started to change. It seemed to me that during the time I was in captivity, she realized something. As she later said herself, she realized she was the only person who could protect Bree and I. Well, not the only one. Now. Bruce came to visit us a lot. We were grateful to him for saving me. Mom was also always happy to see him too. Sometimes she'd remind me that guys like that don't just walk up and down the street. Tell me guys, did you like my story? Write your opinion about it in the comments below the video. Don't forget to like it, share the video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel.